quick thoughts on Perez versus Anthony Crolla, the rematch. A lot of people think Anthony Crolla won the first time round. I was less certain. I didn't score the fight at the time. I think I was drinking that night. But I possibly edged it more towards Darleys Perez. I thought Crolla put in a good performance. I thought he performed very credibly, don't get me wrong. But I was not convinced he did enough to win 7 of the 12 rounds, if I'm completely honest. In terms of this rematch, it was a close fight last time. Because of that, it could go either way. But I am inclined to think that this will go the same way as like a Paul Smith, Arthur Abraham 2, where the Joe Gallagher fighter on both occasions overperformed against expectations in the first fight, but possibly doesn't have the same opportunity to raise their game by that additional 10-15% next time out. Anthony Crolla is someone who I've always viewed as a British level fighter. For me, he's quite small and he lacks power. A lot of people on forums, a lot of people I've seen online are saying Crolla will have a chance if he can bring this fight into the trenches. But I wonder, is that really the most sensible tactic for him? He's a small guy who doesn't hit very hard, essentially. The opponent, however, does seem to have the cleaner work from the outside. If he's fighting long, he seems to throw the more eye-catching, more technical punches, I guess you could say, for want of a better word. So, I'm not convinced about Crolla's chances here. I think he performed with great credit last time out. He had the story, he had the crowd behind him, and he did really, really well. Is that the best of Anthony Crolla? Very, very possibly. But he's in against an opponent who, as much as Crolla overperformed, the opponent underperformed. And despite that underperformance, you can still make a strong argument that Perez deserved to win the fight by having the cleaner work and by being, I guess you could say, the classier boxer. I know people will have opinions either way on that. But for me, Perez does have the extra 10-15% in his locker. He was the one who underperformed. He was the one who maybe overlooked Anthony Crolla and can raise his game. Can Crolla raise his game again? I doubt it. I kind of lump him in the Paul Smith, Tony Bellew style fighters of this world. I kind of view him as the kind of operators who are good fighters at British level but will come up short when fighting for world title honours, I guess you could say. With Perez, if he can win this belt, and if he can retain it, there's some big fights over for him. He's a weaker champion at £135. And, look at the stable of fighters Eddie Hearn's got at that division. Kevin Mitchell, Ricky Burns, Luke Campbell. You've also got Terry Flanagan, Derry Matthews with Frank Warren. You've got Tommy Coyle knocking about. There's some big paydays for Perez over here. And there are some names that Eddie Hearn, I'm sure, will be keen to match him up against. So, Perez has got that incentive to win here. He's got a lot more to lose than Anthony Crolla, who, if he were to be unsuccessful, can probably go back into that circuit of British lightweights and still have some decent fights and decent paydays off the back of it. Fundamentally, I'm picking Perez. I've never been convinced by Crolla. And whilst Crolla performed extremely, extremely well last time out, as did Paul Smith in the first fight, it wasn't enough, and I don't see anything to make me think he can offer something more going into this rematch, whereas I do feel that Perez might have that extra bit of class and can turn it up that extra few percent to get the fight won. Let me know your thoughts. Many thanks for watching.